Good evening, folks. As usual, we'll read to you the last 7 daily inspirational titles, and you guys can choose one, and then we can go on from there. And they are as follows. The gatekeeper of your mind.
Oh, yes.
Changing the world a moment at a time. Reducing negativity in our lives. Seeing the positive in the negative. Today, who we see is who we serve. The illusionary nature of the unforgiving mind. And finally, wisdom involves the relinquishment of judgment.
Seeing the positive in the negative. I don't know if anybody else has any ideas.
All right, let's start there. This is, if anybody wants to follow on the webpage, Chosen to Remember, is a condensed version, the August 21st daily inspirational message, seeing the positive in the negative. It's a condensed version. It's 2 paragraphs long. I'll read them, make a couple comments, and then we can start from there. All right, paragraph 1. How many times in our past has something, in quotes, negative happened to us, but later on we realize how the experience helped us become a wiser and more compassionate human being? If that, in quotes, negative experience assisted us in our growth, healing, and awakening process, then was that negative event really bad in the first place? Shouldn't we be grateful to our past self for the courage and determination it took to assist us in becoming who we are today? I know I am. I now understand that when I look at my past or younger self, I am grateful for what I went through in order to become my present self. Now, when I face what my younger self faced, instead of perceiving things in a negative light, thanks to my life experiences, I simply smile and appreciate the process of my growth. Paragraph 2. Today, if we're going through what seems to be a negative experience, let us not continue to dive deeper into the darkness. Instead, let us stop feeding this mindset with a time, focus, and energy. Let us repurpose this time to appreciate how much our so-called past negative experiences have served us. Once our present self understands the gifts that these so-called negative experiences brought to us, we can also begin to comprehend how our current negative experience will also be used by God for good. Once we understand the true nature and gifts that every moment offers, even the so-called negative ones, what further need for judging self or others would we have? Now, when such situations present themselves, we simply turn the negative into a positive and smile at the ego's effort to take our peace away. End of paragraph 2. All right. Seeing the positive in the negative, my friends. This is how you can begin to experience heaven on earth, even when the ego calls out for hell. Okay? And so one of the things we want to look at is anytime you're, hi Jen, anytime you're judging yourself for having any experience that seems to be less than loving in nature, the ego would have you judge yourself for that, right? And call yourself less spiritual, not spiritual enough, not good enough, not wise enough, not compassionate enough, not clever enough, not whatever enough. Okay, that's the ego response to any time any time when things seem to be not going your way. Okay, that's the ego's response. But we know that there's also another response, and that's looking at our situation through love's lens, through God's lens, right? And all we have to do is remember, okay, just look back into your past, all those challenging and dark and difficult times, and how much you grew and learned because of them, right? So if you learned and grew and became wiser and more compassionate and more loving thanks to your past experiences, then were ever really bad in the first place? If something is helping you lift your spiritual self, your awakening, helping you awaken. And so now, using that acknowledgement that in the past difficulties we used to become a wiser, more compassionate person, we can use the same thinking in the present moment, okay? So anytime something seems to be challenging or difficult or dark, all we have to do is think about our past self and how much our present self is grateful to our past self. So if we learn to see this challenging moment or dark time as simply a step on the ladder towards awakening, then our future self is going to be looking at us right now and going to be grateful to our present self for going through this experience. Okay? So this experience, no matter how dark and challenging the ego says that it is here for you. It's happening for you, not to you. Okay? So now, when you start to recognize that this situation, this challenging time is happening for you to help you grow, heal, and awaken, what would be your proper response to that situation and all those people involved in the situation?
Gratitude.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Gratitude, yes. That is the proper response. And so, because all they're doing is helping you in this part of your journey, they volunteer to come into your life to help you lift those veils that stand between you and the love of God, between you and the truth that's happening in the present, in quotes, present. It's called present moment for a reason, right? Because it's a present moment because that's God's eternal gift to us when we are aware of it. God can give you a gift, right? But if you don't open the box, you don't know what's inside, right? So God is offering you a gift, and we're being allowed the knowledge and understanding that this challenging time is actually a gift from God to us, and it only comes to us. Why? Why does it come to us? Because God is pure love, right? So why would a challenging time come from somebody who's pure love? Because that pure love understands that you're ready to heal something within you, and so you're ready right now. Okay? So when a challenging time comes, that's because God knows that you're ready to deal with it and heal it. Okay? So now, instead of judging yourself, as the ego would have you do, when a challenging time comes or difficult or dark time comes, pat yourself on the back and say, I guess God, I guess God thinks I'm ready for this. Okay? Because perfect love will not deliver to you anything that you cannot handle and overcome. Okay? So you will handle whatever it is you're going through. You will overcome it. That's guaranteed in creation. And so be at peace with that. Understand that only the truth in you is true. The love in you is true. And that everything that is happening to you, not only have you consciously or unconsciously asked for, to help lift the veils that stand between you and your true self, to lift the veils between your past programming and who you truly are, which is the love of God, the loving light of God. Okay? And so when we start to recognize that, appreciation becomes a response to every person in that challenging time and every individual who comes as a result of that situation. That being said, we're open for questions. Any comments or questions on difficult times and how to try to see them a little more positively? Or if you have questions about what I just said.
James, this is Diana.
Hi.
I had a comment based upon an interview I heard with a neuroscientist recently that studies the brain, our emotions, our bodily reactions when we're confronted with what you frame as gifts. And it was very interesting because there was a lot of overlap between what they were saying about how we respond and what you are saying. You call our response when it's maybe negative or unproductive and makes us feel uneasy and not so good. You frame that as the ego. And the neuroscientist says that the brain and the body are inseparable, of course. And whenever we take in stimuli, whatever we see, hear, judge from something outside of us, it's the brain wanting to conserve energy, quickly sends bodily signal to the body. It might be upset stomach, it might be anxiety, it might be fear, sends a signal. Well, this is how this person has programmed themselves to respond over a life. Therefore, this is how I'm going to feel. I'm going to be fearful in this situation. I'm going to be anxious. I'm going to be judgmental. I'm going to be depressed because my mind has stored that information of how I have acted so many times in the past with the same situations. And you're both telling us the same thing. You're trying to help us reprogram, you say the ego. The neuroscientist said your brain and how you have taught it to react over years. You're both trying to get us to the same endpoint. Stop doing this to yourself. Stop. Recognize it. You can retrain your brain, call it the ego. It's just how you have always reacted in these situations, and you know it didn't make you feel good, and it wasn't helpful.
Yes. Amen. Okay, so we were created from love, right? From love. So who are we? We have to be what God is, right? That has to be our true nature. What God is our true nature, right? So we are love. Everything else is just a made up fantasy that we have been taught as true. Okay? As you called it, it's a sort of programming. Okay? So there's who we truly are, which is love, the love of God, and all of the beautiful expressions of that love, right? And then we've been programmed by life, by our parents, by society, by television, by our friends, by our peers, okay, to be, okay? And so all we have to do is realize that that past programming, when it produces, like what you said, if it produces in you a fearful response, an anxious response, a judgmental response, a response of depression, right? It's producing that response not because it's the response that you have truly have available to you. It's because that's the response that you've been programmed to use, right? And so all you have to do is let go of the programming that is not bringing you that peace, that joy, that compassion, that mercy, that grace, the understanding. And obviously the understanding that God is producing each and every moment for you to help you grow, heal, and awaken, to help you become the light of the world that He created you to be. And He wants you to be deprogram yourself from those past ideas, fairy tales, lies, delusions, deceptions. And so that's the idea. The idea is not so much reprogramming. The idea is more deprogramming. Letting go of everything that we think we are that does not produce an expression of love, that is who we truly are, placing that aside, saying, thank you very much. I used you for a while. I find that now your responses are not of use to me. They're not productive to me. Thank you for teaching me that. I now have that in my spiritual tool belt. Now I can say to my brothers and sisters and be an example that when this situation X or Y or person X or Y says something, I don't have to respond with judgment or anxiousness or depression. I can now respond with peace, with compassion, with understanding. And so all we do is place aside what's not working for us and allow God to answer for us through an expression of love, through that deprogramming. So yes, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Let go of who we are not, okay? and become who we were created by God to be. Simple task. Okay.
I had a comment.
Yes.
It reminds me, when I went through my divorce, I saw it as the most horrible thing ever. It took quite a while to see it as to see all the positive in it, right? And there was for me a lot of fake it till you make it. And I'm not a I wasn't ever a big fan of that because it feels very inauthentic. But I'm wondering if there's a place for that, or is that because I was very aware of, okay, I'm not, I don't really want to be loving, or nor do I feel loving, but I will act loving and I will be kind because it is the best thing to do. Like, for example, towards my ex-husband, especially when I was around my kids. And there was a lot of burnout on my end. It felt to me like it took a lot longer to heal because of that. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts around that.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to give you another word that you can use, okay? Because remember, first we have thoughts, then those thoughts become words, and those words become actions and emotions, okay? You know how you can, another word for fake it till you make it is? It's called faith, okay? So you're not faking it. You're just having faith that this is who you truly are. Deep down inside, you know this is who you want to be and how you want to feel. You want to feel at peace in regards to your divorce. You want to feel joyful so that your children can see that even in this situation, they too can find joy. So that faking it, it's those are words maybe that the ego would use, but we can change those words to faith. Now, faith,
Reframe.
yes. When you have faith that no matter what is occurring, you can make a decision between heaven or hell. Okay. That's called faith. So yes, if your ego says that, tells you, well, take it till you make it. That's the words that you can use to achieve the experience. Okay. That's perfect. Okay. Use it. But I'm just giving you another word. And what it truly is, you decided in those moments, unconsciously or not, to have faith that everything in the end will work out for good. And so that's how you decided to process your emotions.
Okay. I just wasn't peaceful in the process, if I'm honest. I mean, I was just like going
Right.
through emotions and doing what I thought was going to be in the bigger good, help, which was going to be good for in the long run.
Right. Okay. Why were you not peaceful? Simple. Because you were, imagine this is peace right over here, right? And we have two roads to this peace, right? One is a very bumpy road, and one is a very smooth and beautiful road. Okay. The bumpy road is called fake it till you'll make it. Okay. The smooth road is called faith. Okay. If you had faith, if you were able to attach faith to what you were doing, you would only be appreciative of every step along the journey, knowing that somebody much greater than us has your back. And that because he has your back, all will be okay. Okay? And so that's the reason you lacked a certain amount of peace during the process. But you unconsciously chose that road, and that's fine, because now you have that life experience to offer to others who God will send your way. Why is God going to send those people your way? Because you have the life experience. Okay? So you should not judge yourself for the bumpy road to peace. Don't judge yourself for that. Because what really happened there? You And in your line of work, you're a therapist, I believe, right? A
Mhm.
therapist, okay? So you ask the universe for more understanding in regards to this type of relationship and process through that relationship, right? Consciously or not, you asked the universe for that. And the universe brought you that experience. And your husband or ex-husband volunteered to help you understand those feelings, because now you're able to go through those feelings because you guys decided to separate, right?
Mhm.
So that was a contract. Even before you came into this life and this marriage, you made a contract, spiritual contract with him. Okay, after X number of years, we're going to separate so that I can learn how to deal with this kind of process from pain to peace in a more loving fashion, right? And he said, okay, I'll help you do that. Okay.
He helped, all right.
Yes, it helped. And so you guys went through that process, separated, and then you went through the bumpy path, and now you have this life experience. And now God, because He knows that you can help people who are going through this life experience of divorce and finding some little sort of peace at the end of the rainbow, so to speak, or at the end of the process, at the end of the tunnel, because you have the life experience. Now you can help them through that process. And now, because you went through the process, because when they listen to you, and they hear what you're saying to them, they are going to know that you went through it too. And because they know that you went through it, they're going to listen to what you have to say. Okay? They're going to listen to you because you have that life experience.
Yeah.
They're going to listen to you. I'm sorry?
Yeah, no, I said I resonate with that very much. I always said I did divorce really, really well. The relationship, not so much, but the divorce, I did well.
And so now you have that in your spiritual tool belt, right?
Yeah.
And now God sends you these individuals. And now
Mhm.
when you start to help them through that process, the process from pain to peace, you're going to start to remember, oh, I get, you're going to start to get, okay, I get why I went through that in the first place. It was to help person A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay. And that's, so now when you start to help a person A, B, C, D, E, and F, now you start to become grateful for the experience,
Mhm.
because it was only because of the experience that you can help all these people heal. Okay.
I like that.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Any other comments or questions? Or anybody going through a challenging time that might use a shift in perception? Wendy, you there? Since you mentioned that you
I
went through.
I am here. I am here. I don't know that any perception change is going to occur, but today was my first day back. Yesterday, I had a great day. You saw me in Miracles. I was feeling very good. But I am going through some bodily and emotional dysregulation. And I know you only work with the mind. So the body stuff is where I'm stuck at. So I'm not sure that this is going to be helping me. But usually going in to see students is just one of the happiest moments for me. And today, because I have been having panic attacks and everything else, and I have to take medication and blah, 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 whatever it is, I am just very dysregulated. And it was a difficult day. And I only had two 50-minute classes. Luckily, I'm able to, because I've been there 19 years and I know everything I teach. It's not like I have to learn new stuff or anything like that. I just have to go in and teach what I know and do the introductions or whatever. But I was not myself. I did not feel good. In fact, I haven't had a soda. I gave up soda like last May, but the medication that I take makes me like very tired, and I just was not. You can't just stand in front of the class like hi class. So I actually got myself a diet soda just to pop some caffeine in me. It was just not a comfortable day for me at all, and it's been like this long enough, which is a month, that it's just wearing on me. It's just wearing on me. And somebody had asked me on Wednesday when I was in a better spot. I was in a better place on Wednesday. I was approached by the head of a grant program. I've been working with them for like a year and a half or whatever it is. And he really, really, I mean, wanted me to join this committee that does big, huge, wonderful things. And he didn't want to take no for an answer. And he's like, we're going to pay for your plane tickets. We're going to take you out to this conference. You've done so much with these students. You're going to be a mentor. You're going to do projects. You're going to do whatever. And at that particular moment, I actually felt not, I mean, if he hadn't been such a hard push, I might have said, let me think about it. But he really, really wanted me. And I said yes. And today I sent an email saying, I have a family member who's going through an illness and I really cannot, which is me. And I really cannot, or it could be my daughter, you know, whatever. I said, I really cannot bring my best self to the committee and I apologize, but I'm not going to be able to do it. And please think of me in the future, kind of thing. And so it's just not, like I said, been my best day. My biggest hope right now, and this is not even a joke, is I need a baseline of functionality at work. That's what has to happen. I don't care if I'm batshit crazy once I get home. Please excuse my language, but I need to be able to go to work and work. And this has never happened to me before. No matter what I've been going through, I have always had some particular kind of shield that has allowed me to go in and do exactly what I need to do because it's like performing. You get up on stage. This is the first time that I have been so worn down by what's going on that I can't do it. So my students are not going to get the best of me. You know, maybe I'll have some good days or whatever, but this is not, please don't ask me to be grateful, James, because I don't even know what I'll do if you do.
Okay. Okay. Yes, medication for this kind of situation. Yes, if you need it for now, don't judge yourself for medication, okay? But do set a goal to lower that medication little by little as you can. In the meanwhile, okay, first don't judge yourself for your medication, okay? It's just something that you need right now. But you know, have a goal towards lowering it. And you talked about panic attacks, okay? Um, it's incredible the number of kids, young people nowadays having anxiety. It's pretty shocking. Like when I was a kid, I never heard about anxiety. I know I'm kind of old, but I never heard about kids or us being anxious. And so, but I myself did suffer from anxiety because of a story that I told about. I'll make it really short. It was during the Tylenol scare, and I went to shopping with my mom and my grandmother. I took a pill. It was during the Tylenol scare when there was this nutcase putting cyanide and tablets, and then a few people died, and me as a child, I internalized that, and I got the headache in the shopping center. My mom asked for an aspirin. They gave me an aspirin. Obviously, it was an aspirin, but I reacted negatively, and then I started having panic attacks. And so I understand anxiety. I understand panic attacks. Okay, that's first. And so what we talked about on Sunday was, okay, you're talking about the body. How can I practice knowing when that panic is beginning? Okay. And we talked about how when you have a panic attack, it's usually breath gets shallow. Okay. So all you have to do is, this is like an exercise, like going to the gym. You just have to, when those thoughts come of panic and anxiety, and they'll come, just start to notice when you're starting to have a shallow breath. And then deepen the breath to the stomach. Consciously make a decision to deepen your breath. You can do the box technique where you breathe in for 4, 4, 4, 4, or you can just breathe slowly and deeply. And so now when you have that anxiety, you can stop it when it starts. Because if you don't stop it when it starts, it just becomes a bigger part of your experience, right? And so, okay. Well,
Can I
somehow I got that.
object, James? Because I don't think you understand what's
Okay.
happened to me.
Okay.
I woke up feeling terrible, so I knew I had to take the medication before I went. because I have to be in class and I cannot have a panic attack in class.
Okay,
So
that's fine.
enough medication to drive to work and to just give myself enough relief so that I would not have one, because I already started out knowing there was a problem when I woke up. It was from the second I woke up. What happened is, even though I took that medication, I can't take so much that it would make me sleepy and I would fall asleep. I have to take just enough so that I can still function. Even with enough medication to make me not fall asleep, I was tired. I was very tired. I still had anxiety. It didn't knock out the anxiety. Do you know what I have to do when I get up in class? I have to talk. I was short of breath. It's not like I was gasping for air, but I have to talk the whole way through and breathe. And I was already medicated and was struggling. So that is why I'm upset. It didn't start with a specific thought. I woke up with the anxiety and I needed to take the medicine to make sure that I could get to work and get to my classes. And my hope was that once I got in front of my classes, like it has for the past 19 years, everything else would just disappear and it would be like I was performing like people do on stage, because that's what it's like to teach. You are on stage, you have an audience, you have something to give them, to show them. And that is not what happened. I was struggling. So understand it that way. I don't wait for the panic to start. If I start the day waking up with my eyelids open and I'm in anxiety, I have to take that medicine. Won't even be able to drive to work without it. So I can't do it the way you're describing as much as I would love to. There's no triggering thought. I woke up like that.
Right.
I
But
have
what,
regulation of the body.
and what I'm saying is, once you have that thought that you're having a panic attack, that's when you can start to take control of what you're feeling.
I never felt like I was having a panic attack.
Okay, but now let's say, okay, you wake up, you're in panic, you're feeling anxious or panicky, right?
Just enough anxiety to know that I'm not okay and I'm going to have to do something.
Right, exactly. So now you have to do something. So I'm saying, yes, take the medication, but also work with the thoughts that you're having in regards to that anxiety, because now you're up, now you're thinking, right? You have the anxiety. You want to say you had the anxiety before you thought. That's fine. You have the anxiety. You take the pill, and you have to also do the work, the physical work,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So why is this happening? Well, first of all, like I said before, there's so many kids feeling anxious and worried and fearful nowadays, right?
You must have forgot the reason I told you it's happening. I stopped taking another drug.
Right, but yes, that's fine. But let me make my point, and then you
You
can.
were talking about me. I didn't know you were talking like in general.
I'm saying there's so many children that are going through this anxious state, right? And what do? You teach children, right? So maybe, I'm saying maybe think about talking about your anxiety in class when you're starting to feel that little bit of shortness of breath, and say, listen, guys, this is what I've been going through, and I'm feeling a little anxious right now. I want to apologize for that. Many of you understand anxiety and fear, and this I know I'm the professor, but I'm a human being too, and human beings have challenges, and this is a challenge that you're having right now, but you're trying to get through it. And God knows how many children you're going to help by just being honest with them. So maybe if you so choose, as Star Trek would say, if you so choose, you might want someday to talk to them about it when you're feeling a little bit anxious. And you're going to see how much they're not going to judge you. They're going to support you. That's what you're going to see from your students. And so right now you want to keep it quiet and keep it kind of like a secret towards your students about this. But you know what? Most of them are going through some sort of anxiety and stress and fear. And so sometime in your life, you ask for this situation to occur. Yes, I know you're not going to believe that, and that's okay. So that you can help lead others to a place of peace from a place of anxiety. Okay? And since you are in front of so many children, young men or women, I would say, maybe you can help teach them away from anxiety to peace. And they're going to be a lot more open to listening to you and hearing what you have to say because they know that you're going through it too. Because I promise you, 50+% of those kids in class are either taking medications or anxious or fearful or whatever. And they're not saying anything about it, because why? Because they feel shame about it, right? And so that shame is not helping them converse with others, which could be a very healing process. So that might be something you might want to consider.
James, you must not remember what I told the Course in Miracles about part of the project that helped me win this endowed teaching chair, which makes me look like a giant hypocrite at the moment, by the way.
No, it doesn't.
I started an anti-anxiety mindfulness project
I
with
know.
my students a year ago, using
Yes.
the first mantra, I can use peace and I can choose peace instead of this. And not only have I done it with them for this whole time, but this particular semester, the first assignment one of my classes has is to write an essay about what causes them anxiety. This is not a secret. I tell them when I do the project with them, the reason I made this project is because I suffered from anxiety my whole life. The problem is right now that when I was teaching it to them before, I was in a place of peace from everything miracles did for me. And that's why it became part of my endowed teaching chair. I had fantastic responses. It's very hard to teach it when I'm in this position that I am right now, is all I'm trying to say. And I am not trying to negate all the beautiful things you do. I attribute miracles and you as one of the top people who helped me reduce my anxiety so much by at least 70% that I was able to take on these big projects. It's just that several things sort of happened at the same time, something with my daughter's mental illness and then these panic attacks and my body is just not regulated and I can't help it. It's beyond my control. The body part is beyond my control. It's like having a physical illness. I am very dysregulated. I am working, trying to, get it together or whatever. I am just disappointed. This is all it is. I am disappointed and a little heartbroken that the one thing that I have always been able to do that brings me joy is compromised right now. That's it.
Right. And I mean, who are kids who are looking for peace going to listen to? Are they going to listen to some guy in the Himalayas who's sitting there all peaceful, looking at the view of the world and doesn't have any stress or anything? And they know that this guy here, no matter how peaceful he is, he hasn't been through anything. He's been meditating his whole life. Or are they actually going to listen to somebody who's going through that process of anxiety? So I don't want you to feel like a hypocrite. I don't want you to feel shame. I don't want you to feel disappointed. And I don't want you to feel heartbroken. That's the ego speaking, okay? This is a perfect opportunity for you to take on this challenge that God knows that you will overcome, okay? So practice having faith, more and more faith in God each and every day, no matter what the ego says, no matter how shame you feel or hypocritical you feel or disappointed or heartbroken you feel, no matter that, always have faith. Practice reinforcing your faith and sharing your situation with your students. They're gonna be so appreciative of you being honest that it's gonna help them. And so you'll see the situation here. It will help others. Okay.
Thank you, James.
You will get through this. And
Well,
just be honest with them when you can, when you feel comfortable. And about the not taking the other job, the other thing, that's perfectly fine. You're not ready to do that. That's fine. Don't shame yourself for that. It's not the moment right now. Right now is the moment to figure out a way to have more peace in these situations, and so that's what you're focused on, and that's a big focus on reducing the stress and anxiety of the young people around us. Does anybody have any comments or questions about one of these situation or points that may have been useful to you guys in the past in regards to that?
I was just gonna point out that I get where Wendy's coming from, that she'd feel like a hypocrite after all this work she's done. But I want to point out, and I think you probably know, Wendy, already, that anxiety, mental health is not linear. It's not like, okay, you're never going to be anxious again or even have a panic attack again. I don't think that's realistic. So just to say that I can understand where you're coming from, but I really I think if people understand mental health and the way it works, that it's non-linear, they would know that you're not going to be perfectly not ever anxious just because you meditate. People meditate all the time and still feel anxiety. Maybe not feel anxiety all the time. It gets better, like you witnessed for the past year, and now you're having, a little, a more challenging time. But it ebbs and flows, and I have faith, I use that word, that you're gonna get better. You're gonna get to where you once were, and higher. So
Thank you so much. And if I could just ask any of you who pray, whatever, call in whoever you call in and send some light my way. I would appreciate it.
for sure.
For sure.
Any other comments or points that you want to offer, Wendy? Wendy, there's you're doing an exercise right now. You've set an exercise for your kids, right? Right now, about a piece for anxiety. What was that you were talking about?
Well, it's because I do the mindfulness part with them and I give them reflections. What I do is I teach them I can choose peace instead of this, and then I teach them a visualization to do to remove their anxiety. And then the last thing is the mindfulness part where they have to go outside into nature for a few minutes. And so every week they'll be writing me a reflection about a time during the week. I say, if you don't have particular anxiety, then just practice the mindfulness. Tell me how you felt before and after. But most of the students talk about their anxiety, whatever's going on. They tell me what the before is. They follow the instructions. They have to describe to me the visualization they chose to use to get rid of the anxiety, whether they imagine it as a black ball of energy that they shove over a cliff or set on fire or bury it. I said, if you're religious, hand it over to the deity of your choice. I give them options for how to visualize getting rid of it. And then they do the mindfulness part, and they give me it's a completion grade because I want them to be totally honest. I said, if this doesn't work for you, if you don't find peace with it, if it doesn't make you feel better, go ahead and tell me that, but tell me the truth and what you did. And they give me that reflection. And then so the beginning part where I ask them to talk about their experiences with anxiety is that original essay. And I use it to not only diagnostically look at the way they write, but it's sort of a starter for them to understand where their anxiety gets triggered, and then they have the practice. Now, I certainly know these practices. I prayed the whole way to school today. You know what I mean? It's not like I wasn't telling myself I can choose peace or whatever. But at this level of bodily regulation, it's not really a mind thing, if I'm just being honest with you. Unless you know about PTSD and stuff, I think I tried to explain to you, when you have trauma in your body, sometimes it works backwards. It's the body that responds first, not the mind. And so you can try to talk your body out of anything you want, but it doesn't always work. So if you're in trauma, if something horrible has happened, which, as you know, with my daughter, it has, and then I had the panic attacks on top of it, then, my body is dysregulated and it's doing what it's doing. So I'm doing my best, and that's what I can do.
Okay. Yes. So what I would again recommend, and you can choose to think about it, at least think about it, is next time you offer them this exercise, just be honest with them and tell them what you're going through. And you'll see they'll be a lot more open and less judgmental than you think, because your experience is going to be very helpful. They seeing you go through the situation that you're going through, and you're doing your best to find some level of peace and still get through doing your job. I think that's a very courageous thing. could become a great example for those young people.
I
So,
really get that, James. Thank you.
yeah, so consider that. Yes. Thank you, Wendy. Diane.
Yes, as I'm listening to you and Wendy, there's so much swirling through my mind. But one thing that popped into my head is something you said on another daily inspiration or on one of these Zoom calls is that someone will come to you. It could be a neighbor, it could be Wendy, it could be me, it could be anybody here today comes to you in a troubled way of one sort or another. And you say, listen, if they ask for advice, give them advice. If they don't ask for advice, I guess you didn't say this, but I guess the assumption is don't offer, listen. But you said something about this is where they have to be on their path right now. This is something that they're going through. And your ego and your ideas and your advice, you don't accept them as personal to you because then you'll judge yourself. But something about us coming to you, you have to just witness it. Can you explain that a little bit more? Wendy's saying so much, and you're trying to help, and you do. And she said that. She said you've helped so much in the past. I don't doubt that one bit. How do you accept that where she is now is, I think you've said perfect before? Is that the word you use?
Yes.
It's perfect.
Yes.
How this turmoil that we've all felt at one point or another, multiple points in the past, in the current, in the future. Tell us how that's perfect for us. I'm not challenging you at all. I'm just trying to put the pieces together.
Okay. It's a little bit of what I talked about at the beginning of the class, where you can imagine three parts of you. Okay. You have your past self, your present self, and your future self. Okay. Now, your past self went through some very challenging times. Okay. And when your past self was going through those challenging and difficult and dark times, that past self was judging itself, was feeling what one is feeling right now, was feeling like a hypocrite, disappointed, heartbroken, shame, guilt. Okay. But with time, right? Your present self can now see that all the challenges that your past self had, that your past self went through and overcame, develop the tools that this present self has now, right? So because this present self has all these coping mechanisms, this present self, who you are today, has a coping mechanism only because your past self went through all that stuff. Okay? So your present self is deeply grateful to your past self for what your past self went through to become who you are now. Okay? Now shift the challenging times from the past to the present. Now imagine your present self having all these difficult challenges, like Wendy right now, feeling that feeling like a hypocrite and disappointed and heartbroken because she cannot be that amazing, peaceful example, you know. Okay, so she's feeling this, but what Wendy does not understand yet is that her future self knows that her present self is going to get through this. Okay, because her present self is being helped by God. Okay, and so she will get through this anxiety issue that she's having right now. Okay, and then she will have a lot of knowledge and understanding because of her experience, and she's going to help many along the way because she has that life experience. But she doesn't have to wait until her future to find peace now, or she doesn't have to wait for her future to be honest now and let go of her shame and her guilt and her feeling like a hypocrite. You don't have to feel that way. You can say, you know what? Excuse me. F it. I am going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with myself and with my students. This is how I'm feeling. I feel a little bit like a hypocrite right now for feeling this way, but you know what? I'm being honest with you guys. I'm going through it too. So you know that you can come to me because I'm going through it too. And I've worked through it in the past and I'm going to work through it now because I'm going to put my faith in God. Okay? And so all she's got to do to let go of this delusion of feeling like a hypocrite and shame and disappointed and heartbroken is to trust God more and say, you know what? I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with those faculty that talk to me about the situation. I'm going to be honest with my students. I'm going to bring this out into the surface light. I want to let the light come shine on it. And we're going to work through it together. Because trust me, there's a large percentage of those kids are feeling that's kind of way. And I promise you, pretty decent sized percentage of those kids are on medication right now. Okay? So let's use this moment, this challenging situation to awaken the world. We can do it. It wouldn't be happening unless God knew that you can overcome it. And so you will overcome it. And you will be able to lead others to a place of peace. And they will listen to you. Because in your story, they will hear their own stories. And so you can be an example right now. But you have to be honest. Let go of that shame and feeling like a hypocrite. Let that stuff go. And say, you know what? I'm going straight through the fog. And I invite all the students to come with me. And if she's able to do that, beautiful things will happen. Yes, Yvonne?
I just think it's important to point out when your body is so dysregulated, it's very hard and very scary to do what you're suggesting. As great as it sounds, you're in that maybe that fight flight. It's just very, very difficult when you're dysregulated to even.
Yes, we always talk about baby steps, okay? Baby steps. And so do what you can in that moment. You don't have to push yourself too much. You can just push yourself a little bit, okay? Push yourself just a tiny bit. Baby steps. Because even baby steps, you're going to get to your destination. So yes, don't feel like you have to do everything now. Don't put more pressure on yourself, but do take baby steps every day, no matter what. No matter what, take a baby step forward in the direction of trusting God and in the direction of peace and in the direction of honesty. Baby steps. Okay, baby steps. Yes, Diana.
I really loved what you said about being honest with the students or in the moment or with someone else or to yourself. Because when I am honest with myself, it allows me to breathe. It releases something in me. And that changes my bodily reaction to what I was going through before. That starts a process of saying, this is what I'm feeling. And I'm being honest with you because I value you, students, friend. I'm being honest with you. It releases me, and they can hear and accept from you because they've been through things too. And when I think of a teacher, I've been a teacher before. there's a plan and you stick to the plan, and the plan is supposed to solve everything. It'll solve the math problem, it'll solve the grammar problem. But life isn't like that, is it? It doesn't follow a plan. Life comes and life brings us things and it brings us challenges, and we have to stick to our basics of a good plan, yes, but we have to tell ourselves, you're telling us to tell ourselves, understand the basics of our plan, what we want for ourselves, who we want ourselves to be, but understand life is always going to challenge those basics, and we have to recognize it and be honest, or some positive, truthful reaction to how we can look at something. And at first, when you said be honest with the kids, it scared the hell out of me. But then I sat with it and I said, how would I feel if I was honest with someone that I cared about? I know that they would welcome it. And I know it would release me in that moment. It would make me feel better. If I feel better, they feel better. The body feels better.
Amen. Yes. Beautiful. Yes. So I see great miracles that are going to come from this. Okay. Something really beautiful is going to come from this. I just know it. I mean, it's a knowing. I can't say anything else. And so yes, take the steps that you can, that you feel comfortable taking. And as we just talked about, that honesty, like Diana, you said, that honesty allows us to breathe, right? And what does anxiety do? It makes your breath shallow. So that honesty helps open that up. And so yes, baby steps. There's nothing wrong with baby steps. Babies are beautiful. Let's see, what did I read a quote once? A baby is like an acknowledgement. I forget what the quote is. I will remember for next time. Something about a baby being, yeah, anyway. Lord, remind me next time. Anyway, thank you, folks. Any final comments or questions before we close?
Just thank you to everybody for offering your support, and I really appreciate all of you, and especially James. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. And we'll pray for you.
Pray for you. Yes.
And let's pray that Wendy is given the strength that she needs
Right
to
now,
get through this.
everybody.
So
Wendy.
thank you, Diana. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, Gay, Mike, Jen, and Lori. And
Thank you.
we'll
Thank
see
you.
soon. God willing.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.